Hello and welcome. I'm Joe,
And TJ?
and we are the Schoolhouse 302. And this is our Read This series where we bring you great books on a topic that we're really discovering and uncovering, researching for the month. And this month we are totally focused on taking, us from one place and getting to another. We often call that goals and some other things. But in reality, we wanted to dig deep into what we call the H gap or the hindrance gap, those things that really prevent us from getting to where we want to be. So it's a tough topic, right, TJ? I mean, there's so often within our personal and professional lives that we have these goals. Some we achieve, but too often there's tons of things that we kind of just accept. We never really achieve. They kind of become a part of our day. They kind of live in the back of your mind somewhere. And that's true for ourselves, our organization. So this H gap really is about how do you let go of those things and really focus on the particulars that will make you successful.
Yeah, it's so true. I mean, it's what Gay Hendricks calls the upper limit challenge, right? Like we create these problems for ourselves, and then those are the very things that we can't overcome. And so, it really is about blowing through obstacles and overcoming some of the disadvantages that we think we have that we might not. That's why our first book, Joe, if you don't mind, is called David and Goliath by Malcolm Gladwell. But this is a little bit different than what we would typically recommend. We always lean on leadership books, ed leadership and outside of education type leadership books. But Malcolm Gladwell really does provide a different type of thinking about obstacles and disadvantages, misfits, those of us who might otherwise be underdogs, just the art of battling giants, those giants in our lives, those obstacles that we create in our mind and beyond. So you got to read this book. It's awesome. And if you like it, Revisionist History, just a plug on his podcast, is absolutely phenomenal. David and Goliath.
Yeah, I think everybody out there knows Malcolm Gladwell's a beast. David and Goliath is excellent. I heard a spin one time on David and Goliath also from a minister that basically said, some of the trials in our life are truly there to get us to that next level. Like Saul could have easily appointed David, to take on Goliath, but he was the least likely individual to do it. And David could have easily cowered and not taken on Goliath. However, the story then literally builds him up. So just a different way to look at those obstacles to get us where we are. And really, it is about mindset, right? It's about our perceptions, and it's about bravery and courage. Our next book is The Greatest Miracle in the World. This is truly about mindset. And you know what? This is a quick read. Mandino, the author, is a pioneer within many of like the self-help, if you will, circles. But I will say that a lot of salesmen tend to read his work, and a lot of, really professions that have to pull themselves up by the bootstraps if they're experiencing a lot of rejection. But there is just some really great wisdom in this book that can really make us feel down. Like it says, most humans in varying degrees are already dead. TJ, I don't want to live a life that I have one foot in the grave. I do want to get past those obstacles. I want to get where I want to be. And this book does that. How about you talk about the Mac Daddy?
Sure thing. It really is a lot about mindset shift, and thinking differently. And that's why our Mac Daddy is Upstream, the quest to solve problems before they happen, by Dan Heath. One of the things, and, we love Dan Heath. We love his work. So, of course, Upstream, we're always making sure we're right on target with the books that are coming out by the Heath brothers. And again, we're looking to solve the problems. We're looking ahead to be proactive to solve the problems before they happen. One thing that you and I always talk about, Joe, is we'd like to have better problems than the current ones. It's not likely that you're going to be without problems. It's just there are better problems to have than the ones we have today. How about a tip for reading?
Absolutely. And just to piggyback on that, the question then too, TJ, is are we experiencing the same problems? So in your organization, in your school, in your district, if you're experiencing the same problems over and over, something's not getting done. And that's where you have to really follow this H-gap model, which again, you can find on our blog. And it's something that we uncovered really trying to dissect why we weren't getting to certain places. So we hope our listeners enjoy it. Yeah, our tip, so often we want to get into the real work. What are people doing cutting edge? And we're surrounded by universities and we're educators. So, Dan Heath, if I'm not mistaken, TJ, that's like an advanced edition, correct?
Yeah, this is Advanced Readers Edition. It came before it was out. It's not for sale, and also not for quotation, which is hard for me because I always go on Twitter and quote what I'm reading. But interesting, this table of contents doesn't even have page numbers. But it was very cool to get an advanced reader's copy to get ahead of the reading. I like that.
Absolutely. And it shows that you have a pulse on what's coming out because Dan offered that for a certain time period and people took advantage of it. And just to spin on that a little bit, the tip is reach out to some local professors who are in the education field, who might be doing incredible research on topics of interest that may just unveil some incredible reads, incredible directions that you are totally unaware of. Just because you're not taking classes per se with a professor or at a university doesn't mean you can't touch into the depth of knowledge and the wealth of knowledge that they have going on. And there is usually a divide, right, between the universities and the schools. This is a great way as an educational leader, even as a teacher, to bridge that divide. So that's a tip of the day. I think people will easily be able to benefit from that.
Yeah, thanks, Joe. Okay, there you have it. Read this series. Always looking for you to join us at theschoolhouse302.com, where you can get blog posts, books to read, podcasts, and much, much more. Thank you for watching our Read This series, and we look forward to next month.